this is the outcome of my long journey with my car. It's been a couple of years now. I had a lot of subscribers asking what happened to the car, if I still have it, if I still working on my Vr6. So a lot went on the past couple of years, so I'm gonna give you guys an idea exactly what I went through and what happened to the car. As you know, I did some upgrades on the car, bigger turbo, and changed a few things on the car. Basically, the first guy that I found to tune my car, he couldn't tune my car right for a couple months. It took us probably like 3-4 months, and he still didn't get it right, and we had misfire problems. So he said something's wrong, something was, could be wrong with my motor, my wires or something like that. So basically I stripped all the wires on the car, rewired the whole motor again, rewired the computer system again, everything was rewired. I checked the motor, took the head off, trying to see if there was something wrong with the pistons, the valves, bent valves or something, loose valves or anything that could be causing misfire, any stupid reason, any part that wasn't right, any wire connection that was bad, and I couldn't even figure out the problem. After working, taking the car apart and rewiring, doing, the whole thing again for like about 3-4 months, I tried to reach my tuner back again to retune the car, and I couldn't reach the guy for 5-6 months. So I basically gave up on my tuner, and I went, trying to find somebody else on the Google search, local in Florida, that could be able, to tune my car and get the car running right. After some Google search on the internet, I had a place about 3.5 hours, 4 hours driving going north from me in Florida. In Central Florida, that's a place that's called Titan Motorsport. Looks like they had a good reputation, a good tuner, so I decided to call them and set an appointment for dyno tuning. They charged me $1,500, $1,500 to tune my car. They said the price for the dyno roll usage plus his tuner would be about $1,500. So they put my car on the dyno for 1 hour and tell me that I had some misfires issue and I had to figure out what kind of problem I was having, wires or motor, something was wrong with the car, and that's why they couldn't tune the car. So I lost $1,500. Here I'm gonna post a copy of the receipt to what I paid for 1 hour. They didn't care, they didn't talk to me about it, asked if everything was okay. First thing, as a owner's business, I would be asking the customer, are you happy with everything? Everything went out okay? Now, no one asked me how was the tuning, if everything was okay. All they want is to collect my money, $1,500 for 1 hour, one single hour on the dyno tuning, roll on the dyno, for the tuner to tell me that something was wrong with my car, that I had to check the wires or the motor or something that was wrong with the car. That's why he wasn't able to tune and fix the misfire. So I was back to zero again. A car that doesn't run right after spending all that money with the first tuner, the second tuner. When my hopes was already down and I didn't know what to do with the car anymore, I was debating maybe to just build something else, or I didn't know what to do. I couldn't find anybody to tune the car right. I took the motor apart twice, I took out the wires apart twice, I rewired the car twice, and I couldn't find the problem, and I knew the problem wasn't the wires, wasn't my motor build. So I decided to send my standalone computer system and the injectors back to manufacturer to get checked, to make sure everything was okay with them, and maybe it could be a computer problem, could be something else causing the problem that I didn't know. After receiving the injectors and the computer system back from the manufacturer, they said there was nothing wrong with them, everything was okay. I decided to replace all the sensors in the motor, thinking maybe I had a bad sensor that was acting up and something wasn't getting the right reading, causing a misfire. So after having all the sensors, all new sensors on the car, the computer was back from the manufacturer, the injector was back from the manufacturer, rewired the car, all the wires redone twice, all the sensors replaced from new to new sensors again, just in case I had maybe a bad sensor from the manufacturer. Rebuilt the motor twice, and we still had the misfire problem. That's when I kind of was about to give up on the project. Couple months later, after the car sitting down and my hopes was completely down, one of my subscribers from Brazil, Fabio, He was in Sao Paulo back then, 2 years ago. He asked me what, what's going on with the car, if I still have the car, if I still working on the car. He missed my videos. He's into Volkswagens and turbochargers and stuff like that. And I explained the situation that I couldn't get anybody to tune the car right, that I was thinking that some kind of tuning problem, because I already double checked everything in the car and there was nothing else wrong other than my thoughts is somebody, they were not tuning the car the way, it's supposed to be tuned. They were missing something on the settings, causing the fire problem. Having some conversations with Fabio through the internet and, text messaging and stuff, and YouTube message, he got to the point of telling me that he used to tune cars and that's what he does, that's what he likes as a hobby and stuff like that. He wants to take a look and log in. So I bought a laptop and download a Teams viewer program so he could connect to my laptop and tune from Brazil, Sao Paulo, and trying to check the settings on my standalone. He said he's not used to Haltech, that's not what he likes to tune with. He have a different brand. He said by just looking at, after of course a few weeks checking my system, he said it looks like something is not right, and my guess looks like the settings on your cam gear. You have a 4 pickup cam gear, and I think it looks like the angles, pickup and angle degrees not set right. That's what it looks like to be the problem, but I'm not sure. But something's not matching right. But since I don't work with the Haltech standalone system, it's something that's hard for me to work on your system, not knowing the whole system. So I would recommend, trying something else that I usually like to tune with. And that's what I did. I sold the Haltech standalone, and then that's when everything starts. I upgrade the exhaust manifold, built my own intake manifold with a more flow, went with a bigger turbo. We put all kind of different sensors on the motor to monitor fuel pressure, oil pressure, everything would have to be connected with a new standalone so we can tune and log and get a reading of every single thing. We'll retime the mode again, and that's when we start getting some good news. And I really start getting happy with everything. It was 2 years. 2 years. Problems and problems that I couldn't figure out why my car wasn't running right. And everybody thinking that I didn't know what the heck I was doing. That maybe I didn't do my wires right. You're not doing your wires right. You're not building your motor right. What the heck's going on with your car? Something that you're not doing right. Guess what? My problem was the tuners that didn't know how to tune my cars. I lost thousands and thousands of dollars replacing coil pack system to small coils, rewiring the car. I spent about $6,000–7,000 if I put everything together in coil pack system, dyno cars, dyno charges, tuners charges, things that back then people are like, yeah, what the heck you doing with your car? I don't think you know what you're doing. You sure it didn't miss something? I've been telling you people, I've been building this car for 20 years, but I'm not a tuner. Tuner, computer is not my area. Okay, if I could tune my car was probably running right now. That was 2 years dragging, wasting money with people that didn't care, didn't put passion, love, and trying to figure out what the problem could be. Just blaming my wires, my build up, something was wrong with my car. Sometimes I almost gave up on a project. I cried, tried to understand what the heck was going on. And I never had an answer. Since I'm not a tuner, I couldn't exactly figure out. I could only do, working on a motor, wires. I don't do software programming. I don't do anything like that. So I couldn't exactly figure it out. I had nights and nights stripping the motor, wires, and rebuilding everything, redoing everything all over again. It's a lot of frustration trying to figure out what was the problem when everything was behind something that I couldn't see, the programs. I'm not a programming guy, computer guy, so I know the basics, but I don't know a lot. I wasn't programming, so I can't tell. I couldn't tell exactly what was causing the problem, and gets frustrated because you're almost giving up, like thinking you're missing something, but was something that was never there. There was nothing that I did that was wrong. So because the time consuming was a period of 2 years, a lot of videos, a lot of build up, a lot of photos, I won't be able to post everything. This video probably take hours. So I'm gonna try to make it as short as I can, straight to the point of showing a couple things that I did here and there, a little bit of build up the intake manifold and little things here and there, some dyno tuning, some pulls on the road, some basic tunings, bass tuning when I first turned on the car, and Fabio started doing his magic. Again, if it wasn't God giving me the strength, the love of my wife and kids, to always be at home while I was stuck inside the garage until 1 o'clock in the morning, having to be up 7 in the morning to work. If it wasn't Fabio get in touch with me, a YouTube subscriber, saying, let me take a look. I know how to tune, let me take a look and see if I can help you out. Nothing would be done right now. My car wouldn't be completed. Sometimes I cry, but it's the frustration that these 2 tuners caused me, and a lot of money spent, 2 years lost in work. I have countless hours in 2 years of work trying to figure out the problem that was never there, never existed. That was the tuners not tuning the car right, not taking the time to understand what was wrong. They just want to get the money, do a quick fast tune to get running, couldn't get running, something's wrong with your car, and they're gone. Putting me back another months and months trying to understand what could be wrong with the car. So I put my Haltech standalone for sale. I sold it, replaced the turbo, sold the existing turbo I had back then, put a turbo a little bit bigger now that would yield a lot more horsepower, and make sure it'll be good for the future use if I decide, okay, I don't want 600 horsepower anymore, I want to go to 700, so my turbo would be good enough. I want, okay, this time now, you know what, it's been a year now, I want to go to 900 horsepower. So I got a turbo big enough just to make sure it'll be happy in the future. If you decide to add another 100, 200 horsepower, the turbo would be able to do that, would be able to handle extra power. Same thing with the fuel system. I went to 2000 ICE injector dynamic injectors, to make sure, I would have, injectors big enough for maybe, 1000 horsepower if I decide to ever go up to 1000 horsepower in the future. Fuel pump also got upgrade. I took my eliminator, what do you call it? Eliminated automotive and went with the Pro Series automotive to give me a lot of extra fuel. And then that's when everything starts. We went with a bass tune. Then of course, once you start tuning the car, start making the power, doing second gear launch, end up breaking all the 3 bolts that holds the drive shaft to the transfer case at the transmission. Snap all the 3 bolts. The rubber spacer, basically, that's a vibration dampener, just eliminate vibration. It just completely fall apart. It looks like, you guys gonna see some photos and part of the video and stuff. It completely fall apart, and then that's back to square one again. I put the car on the jack stand, replace those pieces. That's when I end up taking my exhaust system from under the car, and ended up going with the exhaust shooting out of the front fender, because it was hard to take the drive shaft apart from the transmission with all that big pipe from underneath the car, the downpipe and all that. I couldn't get to it. So that also set me back another months trying to replace power steering rack. Got damaged. One of the pipes on, wastegate dump tube got all bent. O2 sensor got smashed and damaged. That was sitting, the jack stand again for a few months trying to put all, get the parts, put all that back together and start again. Even though with the damages and everything, I was getting happier and happier, even though I had to spend more money to find the parts and stuff. Because I knew the car now is starting to make power. The car was running. The car didn't have misfire. The Fabio was already making the magic work. That's when I started getting excited and could hear the turbos pulling up and could feel the car making the power through all the gears. That's when I started getting happy, so really start putting the system to the limit and said, let's start making more power. Let's start adding more safety sensors. Let's start doing a lot of logs. And Fabio, okay, let's do this way. Let's do that way. And with Fabio working together with me, doing his tuning and giving me his opinions on everything. Let's start doing this and that now. Let's start putting this sensor and changing in some settings. And let's start. If it wasn't Fabio, I wouldn't be sitting here today with the cars running today. Finally finished this car about 30 days ago, and finally had time to work and putting this video together. So basically, I'm gonna put some videos in order, some little videos here and there, some photos and stuff, so you guys understand what went on. It's probably gonna be a long video. It's just so much. This thing was dragging for a couple of years, and the last year, that's when Fabio started putting his hand on it, and we start getting this going. So keep in mind, I have a regular job Monday to Friday from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, and then I still have to pick up kids in school. I don't get home until 6:30, 7 o'clock. Fabio also have a regular job as a computer tech and anything involving computer programming and software and all that stuff. So he's also is a pretty busy guy. He's then moved to Portugal, which start delaying a little bit of the tuning process because he's 5 hours ahead of my time in Florida, US. So then it's me and Fabio working late at night. When Fabio's not up at 3 o'clock in the morning tuning my car, when South Florida time in US is like 10 o'clock at night. And then of course Fabio have to be up 7 o'clock in the morning after going to bed 3 a.m. to work. Or sometimes, I have to be up early in the morning when he was already working. It's like 1 in the afternoon, his lunchtime, and I'm waking up, like 7 in the morning, 8, for him to pick up the logs from the night before, to go through the logs, change the setting, download again, so I could do some pulls at night. And we kept going all year long. That was a really long process of getting these things right. And of course, the time, difference from Portugal to US is 5 hours. Fabio is 5 hours ahead of me, so it makes things even harder, especially when you have your regular job, both of us, working from 8 to 5, so it's like only really doing something in the weekend. So it kind of starts delaying, adding more time and making the process kind of longer to get this done. And I want to make something clear. It doesn't matter how good builder you are, how good you can wire a car, if you do not have a good tuner. It doesn't matter how well the car was built, it's never going to run right. A tuner's everything in your builder. I would like to thank my wife and the kids for giving me the time and understanding for me working countless hours all year long, late at night and weekends when I could be spending time with my kids and the wife. And a big thank you go to Fabio for all the time he put on my tuning to get things 100% right. He worked all year long on my car. So big thank you go to Fabio for all the hard work, all the hours, the sleepless, all the time he spent until 3 o'clock in the morning on my car, and having to be up 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work. A big thank you for Fabio. Big thank you.